I'll call the advisory committee meeting to order at 7:35 p.m. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
All right. Let me show you where we're at. Let me change the view a little bit here, make it a little bigger. If I can read it. Share my screen.
Daddy, who is that?
You hear Dottie, Dottie's joining me, so.
That. That.
All right. So I basically just used our usual report format. Normally, the other one says like per our bylaw, this is our annual report to town meeting, but for the special town meeting, I usually use this little one here. It basically talks about that we should recommend and make a report available to on any warrant. So that's why we're doing this. I put in our vote, and then I got from Adam and Larry some information on the yes, and we can walk through that. And then I got from Marcy some information on the no. Howard, were you able to put anything together on the neutral or abstain view?
Yes, but that's what I sent to Tim, since he was the one that abstained. He should probably chime in, but I can share that after, and we can make it fit in here as fine.
Yeah. So I think, so then, the no, and then I left the placeholder here for the abstain.
Okay.
And then 7-year detail basically is going to be, appendix. And let me show that screen. This one, I just basically took what I had and put it into like, letter size.
Mhm.
Oh no. So the same slides, basically we reviewed the data, last time, just in something we could print out 8.5 by 11 and stick it in the back of the presentation.
Okay.
But let's go back to the letter.
Can I ask one or two questions about the debt pages in those
Sure.
presentations?
Sure.
Let
me
actually,
rotate.
Can I share?
Yes, please. Should have the ability, right? Do you need?
Give me a second. Let me make sure that I have. Yeah, so it's not a whole lot. I just needed to understand what something was.
Well, I want to see if they're the same questions I asked earlier. So
It's this is not the easiest amount of information to consume in the world.
So I'm just looking at the debt pages.
This is one of these was Howard's question.
The for and against. So I was wondering, what are these old renovation projects that?
Yeah, so if you unhide columns A, B, C,
Yeah.
it'll say like town meeting 2006, town meeting 2008.
Oh, I see.
They're under D, yeah. There you go.
Okay. I was also wondering what school the spoiler was.
And if you in column C, it says the school. Actually, that one was
That
TBD.
one's
Howard.
TBD. That one's TBD. We don't have that answer. I asked the same question, Larry.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I want to say it was Woodward, but I couldn't remember. I'd have to go back to whatever 2022 warrant, figure out which one it was, or 2020 warrant.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, what was this school feasibility?
That's what we just finished doing. So we approved the $950,000 in, was it May 2022, Marcy, right? Didn't we just say that, talk about that? And that is the town portion of that 950, because we got some reimbursement from the MSBA.
Got it. Okay. So
That's you'll see that in both, because that is, it's on both.
Right. So that answers that one. Then I was just trying to compare it to this one without the new schools. I just highlighted all the NERI related things. So this is the same. This is the same, whatever school that is. I didn't notice that. I'm assuming it's not NERI.
I mean, even if it was, we still have to pay it, right?
Oh, because we started doing it. Oh, yeah.
We already did it, right?
Town meeting for 2020. I see.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, then this is the same line. And then if we're not building a new school, we have to do a roof replacement. We have to do the deferred maintenance, which you've listed down at the bottom here.
Correct.
And we need to do ADA compliance. So that's okay. So that all makes sense now. And then the difference in the operational budgets were For the however many years, what's that, 8 years. It was 222. I don't know what the per school means.
Oh, just the numbers came from the school.
Oh, okay.
That's just Brian's sheet. Like, he
Got
says,
it.
who did he do it or did the school do it, basically?
Okay, so it was 222 if we don't do the new school and I'm assuming the operational improvements is why this is 214 instead of 222. So it's a bit, was it 222? Yeah, so it's about $8 million less over those 8 years. If I'm
That's
interpreting it
that
correctly.
operational savings, 9 FTEs.
No.
Right.
But just remember, and we talked about this earlier, this is a snapshot in time. All those Neary renovations could get rolled into another bonds for another project should we not do this, right? This is a
Yeah.
snapshot.
This is, yeah, okay. I just want to make sure I understood all the Neary related numbers in these two different charts. So thank you.
I had the same question, sorry, so thank you.
Yeah. And it just goes to show I probably should have explained, made it a little clearer, but it made sense in my head at, probably 2 a.m. whenever I was doing it.
Great minds think alike. Okay.
All right. Let me go back to the letter. Just let you guys read it in kind of real time, and I figure we could just kind of edit as we go. All right. So again, here's the background part, recommendation, and then we could let me know when you get to the bottom of this. All right. That makes sense to.
Hang on, some of us read slow.
Okay.
Sorry, that's me.
One other thing you might want to add in the better environment section, I mean, you sort of allude to it a little bit, is that it's a better design from an overall safety point of view.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at this, Dada.
Daddy, go sit down.
Okay. Dada.
Sounds like you finally filled that other position in the advisory committee.
Yeah. So I'll just put a note there. You guys are okay with me just adding a line, basically.
I'm assuming that there's a lot of best practices in terms of how to build schools from a overall safety point of view these days.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing something in one of the presentations that references it, so I'll just steal the line.
Yep, stop there. Okay, keep going.
Everybody good up to there?
I'm through the first page. Stop there.
Okay.
Yep, yep, yep.
I'll stop at the no.
Yeah.
Dad.
Andrew, we may want to use the same abbreviations throughout. So I think or up above you put, for million, not just one M, but two.
Oh, the double M.
My
Yeah,
bad.
I can
So,
kind of wordsmith it. Claire also volunteered to help
Okay.
kind of, run her
Yeah.
editorial. Make
I
sure that-
used just an M on several occasions.
You know,
Okay.
the other difference here, which is minor, but is that the yes was not personalized and the no is. You talk
Yeah,
mine.
We
Dorothy and
talked
I
about
talked
that.
about that. So if you're comfortable, I think we can say, the advisory is yes position is X, right, instead of my. I think that's something we're okay. I'll just wordsmith that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just try to put it sort of in the same aspect as
Yeah.
the yes vote, just so that it's balanced.
Yeah, we could just
Larry,
say our.
the challenge we face with doing that is I'm the only no,
Mhm.
right? So it's easy to write a collective yes. It's hard to write an individualized no. I guess it's obvious to the reader. So I did call Andrew about this because um
Dada, I
Right,
pooped.
but I guess that's
understand.
true, but I guess it makes sense for us to basically say that the committee was split and the arguments on the yes side were X and the arguments on
Excellent.
the
Yeah.
no side were Y, and
Right.
not really tie it to a person.
Yes. So we'd want to change. I agree with what you just did there, Andrew. The only other is, it is, where I talk about voting no against the study. And that's the that's the reasons. I mean, we could say, well, I think I was also the only person voting no on that study. The only other person could have been Tim Martell, but I can't recall. You could say at least some, same members voted against funding the initial study for two main reasons, or something like that instead of I.
Well, the scary part is going to be when you read my abstain, it's very similar to the no. It's just decided. So anyway, finish this. We'll see what that, and maybe they combine somehow. So
Yeah, I mean, I could change it to like instead of the committee's no vote or whatever we want to do. But
Howard, I disagree. I disagree with combining them because
it's just a
you-
comment.
I know, I'm just saying, you guys had the option to vote no.
We did.
And as someone who's taken a stand here on this all the way through, all due respect, I feel like the no deserves to stand on its own, not as a combined.
No objection here, and point taken. Just I was merely commenting
I
that
understand.
my comments, and I can't say they're ours. Tim hasn't reviewed it yet. Are remarkably
Similar.
similar to yours. I don't want to say with a softer tone, but
That's fair.
just saying that, and it was my opinion that no, I'll let you read it after and we can dissect it from there. So but
I appreciate that. And of course, I'm only one person, but I think I appreciate that, Howard, and respectfully.
I was just saying that we're not far off. That's all.
Good. I mean, that makes sense to me. I think that we
I'm just
probably
saying-
wouldn't be, otherwise you would be, yes.
But again, when people read that, I think that's what they're gonna see is at least my abstain is similar to the no, but why I didn't say no. So,
Yeah. Andrew, where it says approximately $1 million, there should be there's a typo there, should be a space. Sorry. Yeah. I think I see another error, Andrew. That is that as a standalone tax increase in that last paragraph. The proponents of the new school have worked, you could just say worked, not have worked very hard to provide numbers that as a standalone tax increase may seem reasonable. However, there are many unknown factors that could increase the final cost of the project and also impact our overall tax burden across the board. It's a little bit better.
They could increase instead of could not only.
Yeah. And also I had a question. I had written down the date, but couldn't seem to find it. Is it 2054 or 9?
We 2058.
58. Okay, thank you.
In the fourth line of that paragraph, now that you've changed the text in the third line, you
Yeah,
need to change the but to an and.
yeah. That could increase, but also impact overall tax burden because the word taxes are going up consistently and the rate is alarming.
Which line am I looking at here?
Well, it says, while proponents of the new school have worked very hard to provide numbers that as standalone tax increase may seem reasonable, there are many unknown factors that could increase the final cost of the project
And yeah.
Okay.
And I actually, Andrew, one last thing, that as a standalone, that would be another grammatical, sorry, guys.
Is a standalone. Where's that?
First sentence,
First, second line, yeah.
second line, far right, that as a standalone. Basically, the gist is if you just look at the $600, you say, well, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when you look at everything and all the unpredictable factors,
correct.
it certainly does raise concerns.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
Do you want to put, we did the budget forecast for 7 years. Do you want to put 7 instead of 5 there?
Sure. Yep. I couldn't remember. All right.
And then Howard, you can work with Tim to send me something tomorrow
I
morning.
can share what I have now. I have no guarantee Tim's gonna. So let me
You want
share.
to shoot it over to me and I'll just put it in there, and then if he has an edit, then he could just let me
I'll
know.
share it over. Do you want to see it now just to see if it's in?
Yeah, you can just share your screen and we can just read it there, and then I can add it after the fact.
Thank you for those edits.
No, and I'll
I think this is the right one.
Hey, Marcy, I just wanted to say, even though I know you're the only one who voted no, and you want it to be a personal letter or your own voice there, I don't want to speak for everybody, but even though I'm a yes, I know there's risks to this plan, and what you put down there, I certainly appreciate and feel like we could, if we wanted to, say, the advisory is considering both sort of like advantages and potential risks to this. On balance, I'm a yes, but I don't know if others perceive this letter as being so black and white that, like, if I'm a yes, I don't agree with some of the risks that you're pointing out. And I'm just wanted to say that, like, it's not like I'm a yes, so I disagree that there's no issues here.
And likewise, Adam, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't arrive at the no lightly. And I think everybody here has this, I appreciate what you guys wrote and agree with a lot of it.
yeah, it's funny
Um,
because I'm glad Adam said that, because I was thinking that as we were going through it, that even though on balance I'm leaning yes, I agreed with a lot of the arguments that you made on the no side, and I understand
This
the-
is great news for the town, I think.
Should we Marcy, what if we rephrase the my's to the committee kind of thing?
Of course, you could do
And then,
that,
so it
yeah.
sounds, even though it's the no section, it's like the feelings of
Yeah.
our no feelings,
No, I thought we'd already agreed to that.
Yeah. I just.
Yeah,
just making sure.
absolutely.
Okay.
It was just a challenge for me to write it since I was the only person and I was just trying to get the thoughts down. And it's a real challenge, actually. I found it very challenging. It took a long time.
So yours was very thought out and put together, and you took a lot of time. I did not have that time.
I know how hard you feel.
I had a little bit of time this afternoon to throw this together. As I said, I jumped off another call to come here. I've been going all day, so mine is a lot shorter than yours, but I hope it
Yeah.
has
Yeah, well, it's probably not as short as mine because I just gave Andrew a couple of bullet points on the slide because I really didn't quite have a feel for what he was looking for. So,
All right. Well, again, if this is not the tone we want, this is draft one, and it may only be the only draft, but please take a quick look and.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, maybe this is part of the explanation, right, of why it's so hard.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I kind of like the progression of we like it, but there's some things we don't really like, and then we're uncertain. That kind of so like it shows a good cross section of the committee and I think a good cross section of the town. Going into this vote, like it's not as you said, it's not cut and dry. It's not a slam dunk, and people can read all three. Understand that we did debate this and we did have soul searching and we came out with what we had. This is where we ended up, and there you go. Here's our report.
But that's it. I didn't go through all the facts are everywhere else. I didn't pull out all the
I
facts.
think this is perfect.
So
Howard, I think if you had added that here, it would be repetitive because the yes section is so contains a lot of I would say the important points more even than the no section. So I think you did a great job.
okay, thank you. So I will send this over to you after this. So for inclusion, I'm one of two votes on this section. I'm hoping. I did send it again. I finished this at 6:30. For a 7:00 meeting, and I sent it to him. And text him and say it's there. Take a look. So hopefully he'll have a chance to look at it before we have to print.
Yeah, I'll add it, and then I'm not gonna. I think the idea is once we get the final send off from Tim and Larry. I'm assuming you're okay with the yes section. I added some of your stuff, but it was mostly captured in Adams as well. So
yep, no, that's fine.
okay, and then so as long as Tim's good with that section, I mean, I'll send once I get yours, Howard. I'll send out a clean copy to everybody.
Okay.
Tim can take a look, and then I'll try to send it to my Southborough tomorrow at some point in time to post like usual, and then I'll get copies printed for the table for Saturday.
All right, but Marcy, you can see. I think it says a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does, Howard. Yep.
Right, we left this out. Right, this was because we were following this set path by the state, and that's what's been bugging them most about this. Other options that might have been more affordable and perhaps better were never explored. So
it's a challenge, yeah. But I mean, we did the tour together, Howard, and I know that we were both, at least for me, that day made a big impression. But it was hard to reconcile some of the challenges. Does something need to happen? Yes.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay. So
Right. I think we're in a decent shape. So yeah, Howard sent that over. I'll put it in the draft. I'll double kind of just change that formatting for the my committee thing. And if anybody has any last minute edits, send it to me, and I'll compile them, and then we'll try to get a hold of Tim. And
Andrew, are you putting our vote somewhere on this, or it's just going to be on the warrant? Because I didn't see it, but
at the top,
okay.
right here.
let me stop sharing.
Oh, yeah, you're sharing something.
Oh,
else.
that's why. That's why I can't
Oh,
see it.
Howard
now.
was sharing.
Yeah,
That's why. Under my desk.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. That'll help.
Maybe I'll make it a little bigger or put it in a box or something to spell it out. But no, it's right at the top.
I think that helps to explain a lot of, both, well, as someone pointed out a few minutes ago, the split vote. So I think it's really great, well, I think it looks good.
Great.
Okay.
No, I think we ended on the right spot.
Anything else we need to do tonight? We have no attendees in the audience. It's just us. That's surprising, but
us.
okay.
Well, Marcy was saying it doesn't look like it's
I
got
don't know.
posted to the virtual meeting, link thing.
Oh,
Are we recording, Andrew?
We're
Are we-
recording, yeah.
Okay, all right, well, that'll help. Okay,
Sorry,
Okay.
one quick comment on, I was scarfing down dinner when you were reviewing the sheets. This is Howard, I think relatable content on your day was same thing for me, just like minute by minute covered with meetings and whatnot. So one comment on the spreadsheets though, do we want to specify that the no is a no, but continuing to operate NERI? Because a lot of
Yes, that's fine.
costs associated with that.
Why don't I, in the bottom here where I say like the budget forecast is in the appendix, I can put something that says like, just a brief, like, okay, a no is, a no to this vote assumes NERI stays open and needs minimal amount of work, or
Yeah.
whatever, some work to keep it, maintained or whatever you want to call.
Yeah, because well, the other thing to my knowledge, and this, I was thinking about this more after our last call when Tim had raised the point of, how could we go on operating NERI if this vote goes to no? Would we even have time to consider or actually like implement anything other than operating NERI for at least another year?
I
Is that even
highly doubt it.
so? That's one thing, maybe, again, I don't know, like, if you're gonna have a little preamble before you get into the spreadsheets, maybe like talking about the assumption of why the no numbers are inclusive of operating NERI, even if people might say, like what Tim was saying is like, we're just
Yeah.
gonna shut it down, when that's probably not actually what's gonna happen, at least in the short term.
I think at least that kind of sounded like what the school committee was leaning towards. Like, obviously they haven't just fully decided, but it would remain a school, but we need to do some work because we're probably a few years away from it. And we had kind of put it on hold for 3 years while we kind of went through this process, and not sure it could wait another 3 years. Now, what the scale of how much they do or don't do, but it sounded like they need to have some stuff done.
Yeah, it's unclear to me, at least in terms of what I've tried to research, maybe has been stated somewhere, is what has to happen to NERI to continue to operate that school? And if we keep it open another year, even if it's 1 year, like we'll have
Yes.
to do certain things versus can we keep kicking the can down the road? So I like your estimates.
Yeah, I think that's the devil's in the details, right? I mean, okay, can we get 9 more months? Maybe. Can we get a year? Who knows, right? 2 years? Yeah, pushing it. Like that's where it's like you'd have to go line item by line item in the report. And I was just trying to cut a hard line that said, like, listen, they said this should have been done by this point and it hasn't.
but
Let's
I
assume
think,
Yeah.
it
I
should
think
be
the
done, right?
presentation will hopefully go into that as well, that, right, that these estimates are a snapshot in time of based on what we know today, because like I said, at the beginning of this call, should we find a plan B with or without the state, all those numbers change.
Yeah.
We'll have a new bond number in there, which
Yeah.
will change that, and all those charts will go away. But based on the snapshot of time, and the reality is, if I understand, to go back and start a plan B is going to take another, couple months. I don't think we're going to do it in, I mean, the other option is, yes, if it doesn't pass, we have 120 days to figure out how to make it pass, or
Boy.
for that person,
Even a plan B, right? You'd have to go through the vetting process. You'd have to go through the school committee. Even if you
Right.
don't use MSBA, right? You'd have to go to a town meeting vote. You would have to go through a ballot vote because it still has a, Prop 2.5 override because it's for the debt, right? So,
right. So it's not an instant, but could some of those things kick down the can? Could we not do the roof?
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe.
And I don't think we know,
Maybe.
like, it hasn't
But
been.
I know it's
clearly
leaking today.
But it's
Somebody
been
goes,
leaking for 5 years too.
the water feature in the classroom, right? Yeah, can we throw some more duct tape on it and get another year? I don't know. I'm
But
not-
again, it's been leaking for years. That can you put a bucket on it, knowing that in 2 years it's going to do something else?
Exactly.
Yes, but again, snapshot in time is we're going to replace the roof. So I think the numbers are fair, but somehow, and I'm hoping, like I said, the presentation will say exactly that, right? Even if you say no today, you still have to do something,
Yeah,
and the person, that stood up, and said, oh, it's fine, it doesn't need anything, they obviously have not been in the building. Right. So
yeah. We could have a whole time meeting debate on just what the scale of what needs to be done to that building.
right.
But yeah, I'm trying to stick to a report that was, relatively, I think, conservative. So
What's the betting line on how long the meeting is gonna last on Saturday?
I mean, they're really shooting to get it done by noon. My hope is that, I feel that about 90 minutes in, we should have basically exhausted the
Everything that-
commentary in terms of anything new. And
Yeah,
hope at that point in time, if somebody moves the question, Paul would entertain it. But you never know, right? But that's my
And I think you also have the other wild card of how long does it actually take to get everyone in?
Yeah.
'Cause scanning IDs and not wristbands and all that. And Mr. Haggerty is very good about that, and I think he's got probably a really process. But there's potentially going to be a lot of people here. It's not 100 that come to the town meeting. It's
Yeah.
So. All right. I heard from Tim via text while this is, and he can't attend the meeting, obviously. He had one edit and gave it his blessing and says it looks good.
okay, cool. So yeah, edit it, Howard, if you can make that and just shoot it over to me, I'll
Yep.
incorporate that. I'll send it out right after this
Okay.
to everybody, clean up the formatting a little bit. And anybody feel free to send me any Scribner's errors. I don't think we really need our meeting on Saturday. I put one on there just in case. But if anybody, I don't know what we would talk about.
I'm gonna get there anyway, just because, let's be honest, parking is gonna be a joy. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't know what we would call a meeting to order to talk about. We'll
Right.
obviously be at town meeting and we could have discussions there. So as it is town meeting, so I guess I'll go ahead and cancel that tomorrow. So post that one and then I will see you all on Saturday.
All right.
like a
Just
plan.
bringing snacks. Ones that can't be thrown.
All right.
And we're
Well,
wearing
thank
a
you all.
costume.
Yeah,
Do we need a
right.
motion to adjourn or no?
You
We
have a
do.
motion to adjourn.
I move adjournment.
All right.
So-
And then Larry,
Yes.
Howard,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
and Marcy.
Aye.
And Andrew is I. Thank you all.
Good night.
Not all.